Alright, this video is going to be a little longer. This is like the third time I'm trying to make it. I'm also trying to make it in one shot so that it's not so overwhelming, but it is going to be a longer video. I made a video the other day about drift settings on controller. It seems like it helped a lot of people out. It drove me nuts. Now, I'll say this first and foremost. I am new to this game, okay? I am not really well tuned. Like, I don't know a lot about this game yet. I'm still learning. However, I figured out at least enough about the drifting because it was driving me nuts for a few days when I first started playing that I couldn't drift. I drift in real life, for Christ's sakes. It didn't make sense. And then I'm realizing now all these little settings in the game that matter, and I'm trying to give that out to whoever else wants to drift in this game because it's a lot of fun. This graphics or this physics engine works really good. It's a lot of fun, honestly, and like, I don't know, I did a convoy of like 12 people trucking, and I just came to the conclusion that if more people knew how to drift in this game, we could have like big drift servers and stuff. I think it'd be pretty cool, genuinely, so I'm trying to spread the word. So this video is going to be about tuning a drift car, alright? If you have any questions about settings, please go back to the other video, ask questions, whatever, but this video is going to be about tuning the cars specifically for drifting. Alright, let's start with everybody's favorite powertrain. Alright, I'm going to go straight to engine first, alright? We're going to talk about engines. Pick one of these three, either the V8, the V6, or the V12. Whatever one you like, how it sounds better, do that one. Also, side note, most people do not know that there is a rev limiter in this game that can sound cool, or a rev limiter in this game that can sound really dumb. Where is it? In drive mode, you have enable soft rev limiter. It's on from default, okay? And this is what your car sounds like. I hate that. I hate that so much while drifting. It's not even funny. So you go to drive mode and you turn off the soft rev limiter, and now you get what actually should sound like a car. I don't know. It sounds a lot cooler. That was a very quick side note. Sorry, guys. Alright, so outside of that, once you figure out what engine sound you like the most, then you come to the conclusion that the V8 and the V12 have a much lower rev limit than the V6 does, okay? That matters for our final drive ratio and our gearbox, like 5-speed, 6-speed, 4-speed, whatever you want to use. All right, so pick what engine you want because of the way it sounds and whatnot. If you like one over the other, just pick one, move on. All right, as soon as you figure out what engine you want, now add a turbocharger to it, okay? That's how you get enough horsepower to drift. Now, I do not suggest putting a stage 1 turbo on a drift car. If you look down here at the bottom right, you have your actual like power curves. Look at the difference between a stage 1 and a stock turbo, okay? The stage 1 can absolutely make more horsepower overall, but it makes that horsepower much higher in the rev range, RPM range. So if you pick the stock one, you can make a lot more horsepower down low, and that's super helpful for drifting. There's so many times where you're just like coming around a turn real nice and slow, but you aren't making really enough horsepower to keep the traction broken. You know, the wheels start actually getting to bite onto the, start gripping again. That's not good. Having a little bit extra horsepower down low is really helpful for drifting, genuinely. So, big tip: put the stock turbo on, not the stage 1. It'll give you boost down low like no end. On that same note, intake. Do the long intake. It moves the power bands very similarly. You want all the torque down low that you can get. So long intake helps with that as well. The radiator, you want a large size radiator, okay? We're going to be banging off rev limiter a lot, and it will overheat an engine if you're on like the 3rd lap in a row. It's not good with the basic radiator. Alright, so that's all that. The transmission, this is up to you. Figure out if you want a 4-speed, 5-speed, or 6-speed, okay? Whichever one you pick, you can make work for drifting, alright? I like the 5-speed, it's just my personal preference, but you can make any of them work. Now, depending on what engine you picked and what transmission you picked, you have now set yourself in stone as far as like what you need to do for your gear ratio, your final drive ratio. If you're rocking, what I'm rocking, a V6 with the 5-speed, I like the 411 gears. This is going to determine what gear you're in for certain turns at certain tracks, okay? That's like why you change your gear ratio is literally for that. It's, I want to be in second gear throughout this whole turn, and I want to be third gear for this big bank over here. Okay, well, you're going to have to play around with the gear ratio to make that make the most sense on that track for your car. I'm constantly changing this around here and there when I go to the bigger track, like in the middle of the bridge. That thing is freaking huge. I need to play around and make sure that I could do the manjis on those super long straightaways. And with too like short or small of a gear ratio, you can't. You don't have the power in fourth gear like you want. Honestly, the gear ratio thing's a whole conversation in itself. It's mostly dependent on your RPM that you chose and your transmission that you chose. You're going to need to play around with it so that second gear drifts most things and third gear drifts the big ones. That's like how best I could explain it. Limited slip differential. This is kind of confusing. The one way only engages on acceleration, so if you let go of the throttle, it goes back to being an open differential. The two-way, now technically speaking, a two-way clutch is supposed to work both ways. It's supposed to be 100 in forward and 100 in acceleration and 100 in deceleration, but I don't know if it's working that way because they don't really list it that way. And what that means is like when you're light, like when you're cruising, it can have enough slip to let you turn, but then when you're whopping on the throttle or you're really letting go of the throttle fast, it will lock up. And then the 1.5 way is the same thing, but it is 50% lockup on acceleration and only 30% lockup on deceleration. And what that means is one tire to the other. So say like one tire is doing 10 mile an hour, the other one has to be doing at least 5 miles an hour when it's in 50% lockup. They can't be like completely opposite of each other. The lock differential does exactly that. It locks both tires together, and no matter what you do, those two tires are moving the same speed every single time. Honestly, the way this game works, pick any of these, okay? As soon as you lose traction and you're going sideways, almost none of this is as important as people make it out to be, all right? Yeah, I've been using the 1.5 way this whole time and doing fine. That covered everything in powertrain. So for brakes, put the good brake pads on. Brake balance, I put a little bit extra to the rear, a little bit less to the front, just to try and like encourage my fronts to not lock up so much. That's just my thing because I turn on ABS and I'm not that great at braking, I guess. I don't know. Not that important. The brake power, I put 150 on everything. It just seems that this game gives you like weak brake power no matter what you do. All right, now everybody's probably asking tuning questions really about suspension. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to give you much greater wisdom than anybody else can right now because I haven't experienced this game enough. But what I can tell you is to drift, you want stiff suspension, all right? If you have body roll, what that's doing is transferring a lot of the energy into the tires to actually like promote them gripping. If you can imagine when the car turns one way and all the body roll goes to that same side, it's like pushing down on the tires, okay? That's like what body roll is doing to a certain degree, especially in this game, it seems like. So if you have body roll, instead of like making the car slide out, you'll make the body roll over and push down on the tires, which encourages grip. We don't want that. We don't want any of the energy to transfer into the tires. We literally want the fucking car to lose traction. So by making it very stiff, that energy has to go somewhere because it can't get put into the body. It has to go into the tires, and it will make the tires lose traction because that energy is getting pushed sideways. I hope that makes sense. So for springs, I'm up at 400% around all four corners, and dampers, I'm now up to 500% on all four corners, just to make it nice and stiff. Anti-roll bar, I'm still playing around with. I might bump it up to 200 again. I don't know. It's like literally just make the car as stiff as you can and go from there. I think there's something to say about making a little bit of body roll happen so that you can get some more speed in some of the turns and whatnot, but I don't know. I haven't really enjoyed putting any body roll into these cars yet. Angle kit. It's freaking necessary. Put the maximum angle kit on. We're talking about drifting. Are you serious? Just put the angle kit on. And if the angle kit is messing you up in any way, shape, or form, it's probably the previous video. Go to X-axis steering linearity and toy around with that because that's probably your problem. All right, so suspension ride height and wheel sit spacers. Honestly, just make the car look cool, guys. You're gonna hit bumps. Your car's gonna go flying. Dumb things are gonna happen. It's just part of MotorTown. Make the car look cool and have fun. Tires. All right, so I know this is contrary to popular belief, but you want traction, you want grip, okay? While you're in a turn going sideways, your car is the forces that are acting upon your car are making your car go off track, okay? Like off the side of the turn, the outside of the turn. The only thing bringing your car back into the center of the turn, force-wise, is the rear tires pushing the car towards the center of the turn. Even though they're burning out and spinning rubber and doing crazy shit, they're still actually pushing the car towards the center of the turn, okay? So if you don't have that much grip on the back tires, it won't propel the car into the turn. It'll just slide. Yes, they make these drift tires for the game, but that's if you don't have enough horsepower to spin tractionable tires. So if you need sideway tires to make your drift car function, no, you need to put back on a regular tire and make more horsepower with that car. That's my argument. I use the highest grip ones, and I love it. If you look at what actual drifting has become, unfortunately, in 2026 with Formula D and all that, it is a traction game, a horsepower and a traction game at this point. Moving on. Wheels. Again, make the car look cool, bro. Aerodynamic, same thing. Etc. There's not even something to look at there. All right, so that's tuning in a nutshell. Yeah, that's my best way to describe the tuning in this game. Why you do certain things. Again, you just want a stiff car, stiff chassis. Otherwise, with too much body roll in it, she'll try to grip all the time. And you don't want that. You want to be able to actually slide around. So you want that energy to like be transmitted into the tire and make it lose traction instead of being transmitted into the body and trying to grab traction again. Having the smaller turbo, the long intake makes, I'm in boost, down low like this, I'm in boost this whole time, it's great. If you have the big turbo, I'd be out of boost and I wouldn't be making a lot of horsepower right now. So I'd have to clutch kick a lot to get the car to come around again. You know, it's almost like the car is lugging, you know, too down low. Yeah, play around with it, guys. Again, I don't know much. I'm just learning as I go myself, but this is what I've accrued so far. You want a stiff chassis, you want some amount of horsepower, you need an angle kit. The long tube intake and the stock turbo is maybe one of the bigger things that most people don't realize, as well as the final drive ratio. Like again, there's a whole lot of conversation to happen about what you need and don't need for a final drive ratio and why, but I hope my bullshit rundown makes sense to, you know, help you guys out, figure it out. Well, I hope this helps. Shoot me a message or something. I'm trying to teach as many people as I can how to drift because I want a tandem with more people. I got a fun-ass convoy of like 12 trucks the other night on this server. It was a lot of fun. And I think if we got some people into drifting, this game could be pretty fun with big old tandem drift events and stuff on the servers. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Catch you later.